Hello students, this is Mr. Lai and we are now having the last video lesson of the English Self-Direct Learning Program right before the final exam. And today is about relative clauses. So for former students, relative clauses, I believe, should be a new thing to you. Whereas for Form 2 and Form 3 students, you should have learned a bit about relative clauses already. And if it happens that you have to know something about relative clauses in order to perform better in your exams, please, okay, Form 2 and Form 3 students, pay close attention. So let's get started. So what is a clause? Clauses are basically basic sentences if you look at the structure only. There is a subject and a verb in every clause. Therefore, a simple sentence always includes a main clause. Please take a look of the example sentence below. Mary likes eating apples. Mary is the subject. Likes is the main verb. Eating is the gerund. Apples is the subject. So you can see we have one sentence here and one clause under this one sentence. And in this one clause, we have one subject, one main verb, and one object. And this table is going to be very, very useful for you. You will know how useful it is very soon. Now, why should we learn about clauses? There are two sentences. The first one, you know it. Mary likes eating apples. The second one, some apples are from Japan. So imagine if we are going to express these two meanings in one sentence. That means we are going to combine these two sentences. What will the new sentence be? How it will look like? Here is how it looks. Mary likes eating apples that are from Japan. So the first four words, Mary likes eating apples, that is the main clause. And the last four words that are from Japan, those words, they form the subordinate clause. One more thing, we have THAT, that. Here, that, it is a new word. Okay, you did not see this word that in the original two sentences. And the reason why it is a new word, okay, why we need it here is it is a relative pronoun. Before we move on, I would like you to complete this table as a warm-up question. And in this table, you have 8 boxes to fill in, okay? Of course, you should fill in numbers in these boxes to tell or to describe the construction or the structure of the new sentence that we just mentioned or discussed in the previous slide. And you're having 2 minutes for it. Now you may start. 2 minutes has passed. Let's take a look at the answers. First of all, there is one sentence, and in the main clause, we have one main verb, one subject, and one object. In the subordinate clause, we have one main verb, one subject, and one object. So naturally, you should get the correct answer of the last box very, very easily. We have two clauses. We have two clauses in this new sentence. So what is a main clause? Mary likes eating apples. That is the main clause. And what does a main clause do? The main clause carries the main idea of the whole sentence, and it can give complete meaning on its own. When I say on its own, that means the most important message of the whole sentence remains the same even if the subordinate clause is taken away. So, to give you another kind of explanation, or to give you a more funny explanation, you may say the main clause is the big brother, while the subordinate clause is the little brother. So how about the subordinate clause? What is the little brother doing here? A subordinate clause only adds extra information in a sentence. It is a secondary part of the whole sentence. In other words, it cannot stand alone and give complete meaning. And to give you some more information, you can actually rewrite the whole sentence in another way, and that is the alternative way. Apples that Mary likes eating are from Japan. Okay, wait here. Let's take a look. How about this word, THAT, that? What is it doing? And of course, it is a relative pronoun, and it represents apples in the main clause. Also, this word, THAT, that, it is the subject in the subordinate clause. When we say THAT that is a subject, that means if you somehow or by chance forgot to write THAT that, then there will be no any subordinate clause in your sentence. Also, when you write this word that, remember you should write it right after the object of the main clause. Okay? And the object of the main clause here is apples. So you should write THAT that right after apples. Task A. Combine the pairs of sentences. In task 8, you have 5 or maybe 6 questions. And in each question, you have one pair of sentences. In this example, as you can see now on the screen, there are 2 sentences, and the first one reads, Timon, Yunong, and Tinshui are in the New Territories West. The second sentence, you can go to Chimun, Yunong, and Tinshui by bus or by train. So that's how these 3 districts look like when you stand somewhere on the Castle Peak or on Changshan? So the answer is you can go to Chimun, Yunnan, and Tianshui, which are in the New Territories West, by bus or by train. I guess some of you could have tell already. Um, the red words, which are in the New Territory West, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, these 7 words they form the subordinate clause, and the word which it represents the object. Timun, Yunnan, and Tianshui, which means which. Which. This word is also a relative pronoun. So here is the question 1 of task A, and as I've told you before, there are 2 sentences. The first one is the COVID-19 virus causes a global pandemic. The second is the COVID-19 virus has infected millions of people. Please try your best and combine the 2 sentences into a new sentence. But before I go, one more tips. There are 2 possible answers to question 1. That's all for task 8. Next. Now this part, defining clause versus non-defining clause, it is more for Form 2 or Form 3 students because they should know more about English, and quite probably they should learn a bit about they should have learned a bit about relative clauses. So this part B, is primarily for Form 2 and Form 3 students. But for any Form 1 students, I think you should go on watching this video lesson and try your best to figure out or understand, okay, what the following material or what the following part is about. So the truth is, clauses are never all equally important. The reason is, relative clauses are not always necessary for telling readers what or who the subject is. Take a look of this sentence. People who do not have an octopus card have to prepare change for taking buses, minibuses, and taxis. So here, this clause, who do not have an octopus card. If this clause was not here, readers would have no idea why people have to prepare change for taking buses, minibuses, and taxis. And that means this clause is necessary for telling readers what or who the subject is. So this clause is a defining clause. To put it in another way, any clause is a defining clause when you need it to make your sentence clear. So this slide, it is about how you write or how you can tell it is a defining clause. Next. Now we are going to explore non-defining clauses. Take a look of this example sentence. Americans who live in North America speak English. As you might have known or as you might have guessed, okay, Americans are actually everywhere in the world. Well, more or less like the Chinese people. So, no matter where they live, Americans, okay, they generally speak English. And this fact makes this clause, who live in North America, unnecessary for telling readers what or who the subject is. In this case, writers could remove a non-defining clause freely because it will not affect the meaning of the subject. And please bear in mind, whenever you write a non-defining clause, please remember to add commas before the clause and after it. One comma before it and the other comma after the non-defining clause. Task B. Is it a defining clause? So bear in mind, students, okay, I would like to remind you once more, this part, task B, is more suitable for Form 2 and Form 3 students. Still, okay, Form 1 students, I would really appreciate your attempt, okay, your trial, if you still want to, okay, try to do task B, okay. I would really appreciate it. So the example sentence is YCH2SS, which is near Chengshan, was founded in 1987. So what you have to do is you have to decide whether those words, which is near Chengshan, okay, whether those words, okay, do they form a defining clause or do they form a non-defining clause? And after you make a decision, okay, to see or to tell if it is a defining or a non-defining clause, you have to decide whether you should add one comma before this clause and the other comma after this clause. So the answer is here, this clause, which is near Chengshan, it is a non-defining clause. And therefore, for 1.1, you should cross out the word defining. And then for 1.2, add a comma. For 1.3, add a comma. That's how you complete a sentence. And in task B, we have in total 3 questions. Okay, we have in total 3 sentences that includes that each includes 2 clauses. Okay, so you're going to do the same. Okay, you have to decide whether the highlighted um, or the underlined clause, okay, whether it is a defining or a non-defining clause. And lastly, please decide, okay, if it is a non-defining clause, okay, maybe you should add one comma before and the other comma after the clause. If it is a defining clause, then you just put a clause, okay, before the clause and another clause after the sentence, okay. That should do it. Okay, please make good use of your time. So, final words. Wow. Do you have any idea how many days do we have before the final exam? Do you have a plan of your own revision? Relative clauses are an important grammar concept. I hope that you try your best and do the worksheet. And I believe you should have a lot to catch up, okay, to prepare yourself for the exam. And lastly, get enough sleep and study. So that's all of the lesson today. Thank you very much for attention and time. And I hope, okay, I can see you, okay, in the school, in the campus. Bye.